Okay. And then I'm going to introduce you. Sorry, all my notifications are going off. I'm going to introduce you to our speaker. Okay. Let me just bring up all my pages here. And some of her girls are on tonight too. So hello to Megan's coaches. Okay, so I'm super excited for Megan to be speaking for us tonight because number one, we recently connected over a little push group that we were hosting together. Heather got to be a part of that push group, and we found out that we're the exact same personality. We have so many things in common. It's just craziness. So we were okay, we need to start working together, masterminding on stuff. And she has done some incredible things in the business. So she is actually a personally sponsored coach of Jamie Innes. So my coach, Carly, her upline is Jamie. So Megan is one of Jamie's actual personally sponsored coaches. So that's really cool. I love Jamie. She's my grandma coach, basically. But Megan is also a 2-star diamond, which is huge because when you hit 2-star, you get to open up your second CBC. That's a massive milestone in the business. She's a Success Club 10 All-Star legend, which means you've hit Success Club 10 2 years in a row consecutively, correct? That's amazing. I'm pretty sure I'm coming up on my legend status with that one, but I'm at SC5 legend, so we're getting there. And she's been coaching since July of 2017, so not even that long. You've done so much. And she's actually been doing Beachbody workouts for 5 years, almost 5 years. So that's pretty freaking cool. And as you guys know, we are qualified as a premier team, pushing to be qualifying as an elite team as of tomorrow. But Megan is already qualified as a premier team as well. So I'm just so stoked to hear from her because she has so much wisdom. So I'm just going to give it away to you. Hopefully that was more than enough information for you guys to just respect this babe because she's awesome. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you are so I literally just feel I sit here when people introduce me and I'm just I'm just a normal human, I promise. But I'm so excited to talk with you guys tonight. And I first wanted to just share a little bit about who I am for those of you guys that don't know me, or maybe kind of do, but I just want to share more about who I am just as a human first. And so I'm 27 years old. I actually live in Richmond, Virginia. I guess I'm still considered a newlywed. I got married in April. I don't really know when that runs out. But my husband and I are actually expecting our first. We're having a girl in January. And then we just actually 2 weeks ago purchased and moved into our first home. So that's kind of why I feel newlywed status is out the door because I did the things. I will just say guys, when you least expect it, God is just going to be like this with his plan for your life, regardless if you're ready or not. And so that's a little bit about me. I am a full-time coach. I've been full-time coaching for a little over a year now. Before coaching, I was an elementary school teacher for 3 years. I taught 3rd grade for 1 year and kindergarten for 2. If you guys are familiar with the teaching world, I taught in Title I schools for 3 years. If you're not familiar, that basically means that a lot of my kids were either on free and reduced lunch or lived in low income housing. And basically a school qualifies as Title I based on need, 99% of the time financial need. And so those were the schools that I taught in for 3 years. I went to Virginia Tech for college, and I actually got my master's in education. So I was there for 5 years. And then I moved to Richmond with one of my friends just because I was I grew up in Virginia, but I grew up kind of in Northern Virginia. Virginia Tech is in Blacksburg, little tiny itty bitty mountain town. And so I was okay, I'm going to move to the city. Richmond's not a huge city, but I love it. And we actually just moved out into the suburbs, which is where our house is. And so that's just a little bit about me. And a little bit about my coaching story. So like Leanna said, I started Beachbody workouts when I was in grad school for teaching. Like so many of us, I had tried everything under the sun. and had given up on everything under the sun, and nothing had stuck. I always played sports my whole life. I was pretty active. But my junior and senior year of college, aka when I turned 21 and I could legally go out, I started to gain more weight. I have always struggled with self-confidence issues. That's like a huge part of my brand. My team's actually Team Confidently Fit, because that's a huge part. Like, I've always had weight to lose, but not a lot. And my biggest thing has always been wanting to help other women become confident in their own skin, because that's what Beachbody did for me. And so I started the workouts in 2015. I actually just took my roommate's DVDs, and they were from the 21-Day Fix. Back when DVDs, you had to get like individual programs. Beachbody on Demand, is that a thing? I didn't have a coach, but I started up an Instagram because that was like the thing to do. That was back when like fitness Instagrams were started. And I started documenting my journey, and that's how I actually met my original coach. Jamie's not my original coach. I actually signed up with someone else. And I signed up as a discount coach in 2015 after 6 months of being on my journey, because I wanted to save money on Shakeology. And then my first 2 years of teaching, I was very in and out of my health and fitness journey. I, was very in and out of being an active discount coach. I had started at some point with intentions of kind of working the business, but it wasn't really something that was on my heart at the time. I was a struggling first-year teacher. I, for the first time in my life, really struggled with anxiety and depression. I was teaching in an inner city school, one of the roughest neighborhoods in the city of Richmond, and it really took a toll on me. And it was honestly just enough for me to like get out of bed and go to work every day. And I definitely put my health on the back burner. I literally started going to therapy a month into my first year of teaching, guys. Like, it was tough. And then my second year of teaching came around, and I moved to a new school. It was still Title I, but it was still in the suburbs. And I started teaching kindergarten, and that was kind of where I found like my happy place, as far as I loved working with the little ones. Kindergarten is no joke. It's literally like herding cats, but I loved it. It was not my jam teaching in a testing grade, especially in a Title I school where so many kids are already struggling with everything else, let alone trying to get onto the state level of academics. And at that point, I was like, I'm just too busy to work out. Like, I'll do a little bit here and there. I'm really like trying out Country Heat when it came out. And like, I had Beachbody on Demand at that point, but it was just kind of like a little bit here and there. And I totally fell into, if you guys have ever talked to any teachers before, if you are a teacher, the teacher trap of like, my kids come first, I come last. Like, I was literally living, breathing that person. And then it was the end of my second year of teaching. It was the summer of 2017. My now husband and I, we were dating. He had just moved to Richmond. We were long distance for like 6 months, and we both kind of just like looked at each other one day, and we were like, something's got to change. Both of us were letting our jobs take over our lives. We were like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, like 24, 25, 26, 27, I don't know, like around that age. And we were like, this like can't be it. Like, this is not okay. We were like I was not even 25 years old. And I'm just like, no, like this is just not what I need to do. I need to put myself first. I like my job, but I felt like I was missing something. And at the time, my coach was just not an active coach in the business, but I was still following other people from like Team Fight to Finish and everything. And I saw what they had, and it wasn't the financial freedom. It wasn't necessarily like the time freedom or anything like that. I just saw what their lives looked like and how fulfilled they were, and just like how happy they were all the time. And I was like, I want that. Like, I want that in my life. I liked teaching. I was at a good place in my relationship. Like, I was getting better with my health journey. I had started back with Sean Week. I kicked my butt. I did the whole month-long calendar. After that, like to a T, I got great results. And it was that summer, and I was like, I'm going to go all in with coaching. Mind you guys, like, I didn't have a working upline coach. I just was like, I'm going all in with coaching, and I'm going to be full-time in a year, and I'm going to leave my teaching job. And I literally, one of my goals was to be a Success Club 10 all-star. So like hit Success Club 10 for 12 months in a row. Didn't really know what that meant, but I like had heard it was a good thing. And so I started my coaching journey in July of 2017, and I literally have never looked back. I started out on my own. I, didn't become a personally sponsored coach of Jamie's until I believe like this time last year. I actually pulled up a Snapchat memory from 2 years ago when she like personally messaged me on Miracle Mornings because I was on them all the time. And she knew like who I was because we had talked sometimes. And I was on these Miracle Mornings and I sent it to her the other day and I was like, this was the message where it like changed everything for me. And so it's just been something where I started coaching and I never looked back. As you guys know, I am going to be talking about like hitting your non-negotiables in every season of life. I feel like in the last 2 years, I have been through so many seasons of life. I was full-time teaching. I was someone who was coaching on my own. I was in a long distance relationship. And then for the first time in my life, I was living with a boy. Ended up going through an extremely tough year. My third year of teaching, like had nothing on that first year, or that first year had nothing on it. I have been engaged. I've been planning a wedding. I'm now 7.5 months pregnant, like hardly being able to breathe while I'm talking. I've been through the saving for a house process. I've been through the moves. I've been through, just a lot of different seasons. And the one thing that has remained the same through every season of life in my business is my non-negotiables. I literally wasn't joking when I started out and said I was never going to miss a month of Success Club 10. Part of the reason was for finances. When I started coaching, I was in a lot of credit card debt. I have a shit ton of student loan debt. Like who doesn't? So I feel like saying that like doesn't even make me cool. But I had my student loan debt. I was a teacher, so I wasn't making a lot of money. I had a car payment because my first year of teaching, my car transmission died on me when it wasn't supposed to. My car was supposed to last me for forever. I was a first year teacher, like just starting to have to pay back on my student loans, and my car died. I had like a Civic. It was supposed to last for forever, guys. And my transmission died. And so I had to take on a car payment. And I was literally, I don't even like to say living paycheck to paycheck because my paycheck didn't even cover my bills. That's why I was in so much credit card debt. And so for me, it was huge, not only to do my job of helping people and helping more people than the bare minimum, but it was huge for me financially because I loved Shakeology and I loved Energize. That's pretty much like what I could drink and use 2 years ago. That's what they had. And I couldn't afford it. And I wasn't one of those people who was like going to spend a crap ton of money on Starbucks and saying I couldn't afford it. Or like, I mean, I definitely was spending too much money on my classroom for sure. But like, can't tell a teacher that because we're going to do it anyways. But I literally couldn't afford my Shakeology and my Energize. And the only way that I could do that is if I was hitting at least Success Club 6. But I didn't just want to hit Success Club 6, hit the bare minimum of helping 3 people, and only be able to pay for my Shake and Energize. I actually wanted to make an income from coaching because I never wanted to be in the negative. And so I wanted to share with you guys that there's been 1 month that I did not hit Success Club 10. I hit Success Club 8. I'm going to share a little bit about last month with you guys because that was by far the closest I have ever come in 2 years to getting Success Club 10 at that last minute. And, just share that like, I've never been in the negative with coaching. Coaching isn't something you should go into with the mindset of, I have to pay for coaching. No, coaching is something you should go into the mindset of I'm going to help people and I'm going to make money because this is a business. This isn't something where you should have to worry about paying that $15.95 a month or, getting that $99 Shakeology bill in your bank account when it comes out on whatever day it comes out. And so I want to share with you guys how I've done that because I'm not some special like unicorn. Like I don't want you sitting here thinking I could never do what she does. I'm going to touch on mindset, but like that right there could be the exact reason why you're not hitting your non-negotiables in every season, every single month, why you may be scraping by at the last minute. And, a little bit about last month. So it was October. I'm a firm believer there's never like slow months or slow seasons in this business. I feel like when I hear that from people, those are actually the months where I'm like rocking and rolling when it comes to my team doing big things, my clients doing big things, bringing in people, that kind of thing. And last month was a month where I personally had been struggling with my mindset for almost 6 months. And it finally came and just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And notice I said like I was struggling with mindset. It was nothing to do with people saying no, people ghosting me, people never answering my messages, people continuing to watch my stories, but seeing that red receipt and them never answering. It was my mindset. For 6 months, I had been slowly just building up this negative mindset, and it came and hit me like a ton of bricks because last month, it was October 30th when I locked in Success Club 10. That has never, ever, not even when I very first started coaching, has ever happened at that like last moment. And to me, like I said in the beginning, Success Club 10 is my non-negotiable. So like you might as well have told me I was at Success Club 0 and October 30th. And the problem was, and I mean, guys, like mindset work to me is the hardest thing. The invites and the reach outs and your daily tracker and listening to team calls and all that kind of stuff. Like that's easy. That's simple. Working on like what goes on in between here, that shit's hard. Like that's tough. It's really tough to look inside and be like, this is because of what I have been thinking or what I have been doing. Like this is a result of my own actions. And so I had to take a look back at the last 6 months. And I had to realize that while I was putting in the work, because that's the first thing, if you're sitting here and it's, what's today? November 20th, and maybe you're feeling the way that I felt at the end of last month, I want you to honestly ask yourself, have you been putting in the work necessary to help 3 to 5 people? Or maybe you've hit Success Club, but you've recruited 0 coaches. So have you been putting in the work to recruit those minimum of 3 to 5 coaches every single month? Or whatever goals you had set for yourself if you feel as though you're falling short on them right now. And you have to be 110% honest with yourself. I was able to sit back last month and tell myself, yes, I had not fallen short on my reach outs. I had never gone away on social media. I had not showed up for team calls. I wasn't not filling out my tracker or anything like that. It was everything that I was telling myself in my mind. I was telling myself that if I just hustle, I'm going to get to where I want to be. I was telling myself that if I just, do all of the things, all of the time, all of the days, I'll get where I want to be. That is a piece of the puzzle, and it's so important because I can tell you, you can read as much PD as you want every single day. You can implement as much PD as you want every single day, but if you're not doing the vital behaviors consistently every single day, then you can't expect results in your business. But if you are sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, I can totally relate. This is how I'm feeling. Guys, I had been putting personal development on the back burner. And it's not like I wasn't reading my books. It's not like I wasn't listening to podcasts, but I wasn't implementing it. I wasn't being intentional with my mindset work. Because at the end of the day, mindset's everything. Whatever you believe is literally what's going to happen in your business. So I might have been going through my reach outs and I might have been going through my followers and my likers and sending them messages. And like, I'm sure we all know, because we all come from like the same, big coaching team, but like, we're not people to send cold messages or like copy and pasters or anything like that. But even if you are sending messages to people, if there is not a clear intention behind them of how you want to help them and you're just sending them to check a box, it doesn't matter. And guys, I had to tell myself that that's what I was doing. I had to be honest with myself. I was doing the things that I needed to do, but I wasn't doing them with the intention and the fire and the passion that I needed to do it on. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I get what it feels like to feel like you're falling short on your non-negotiables. But the thing that can separate someone who gets it and still hits them from someone who gets it and falls short every single month is you're letting your excuses become a crutch. I could have sat here and said, I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm not able to work out right now. I'm not getting a transformation. I can't even follow the nutrition plan because I hate food. I could have been like, people just don't find me relatable because they're not pregnant. I could have said all of these things over and over and over in my mind, but it would have just been an excuse. And I literally would have been telling myself that my success was dependent upon other people. That's like so backwards. And I can say that like with confidence because I've heard it from so many people before where they're like, well, I'm just really busy. Like my schedule's crazy this month. My kid is not napping, or, my classroom is going crazy. We've got report cards, or my boss is, making me work extra hours, or, my car broke down. Whatever it is, name it. Like those all go in the same pile. They're all excuses, but you are the only person that gets to decide if your circumstances are going to define you. You get to decide if those coach cancellations are going to define you. You get to decide if X amount of people falling out of rank are going to define you in your business. You get to decide if someone telling you no is going to define how you reach out to the next 10 people. We literally get to decide how those things define us and how they define our business. Your success, like your individual success in coaching, has nothing to do with your season of life. And I feel like that's a really hard pill for some people to swallow. But guys, if our success was determined by our season in life, you would never see top coaches who are at the top right now be at the top. Because you know that every person who has said every person that has ever told you that they're too busy, there's 5 million people out there that are busier than them. For every person that has ever told you they don't have the time or their schedule just doesn't allow it, there's someone out there who has a more insane schedule than them, but they're making it work. I think that a lot of times we tend to separate like what our clients say or what our prospect or prospective clients say and what we say to ourselves is two different things. But guys, raise your hand if you've ever been so frustrated when a client comes to you and they're like, I just don't understand why I'm not getting results. And you're like, well, when was the last time you did a workout? And they're like, well, I did this one last week and this one today and this one yesterday. And you're like, so you're not following a workout calendar? And then, you talk to them about their meal plan and they're like, well, I meal prepped, but I only ate those meals on Monday and Tuesday because I just didn't want to eat them on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I went out on Saturday and Sunday, and you get so frustrated. Guys, it's the same thing with coaching. It's literally the exact same thing. We just tend to separate it because we look at it as like, oh, fitness and nutrition, got that on lock. Coaching work, I don't really know. That's totally different. No, it's literally the same thing. If you're telling yourself those same excuses, imagine what it feels like when you have a client come to you and say those things and how you just want to like shake them and be like, well, yeah, like Karen, you can't get results if you're not following a workout calendar and you're not following a nutrition plan. Like same goes with coaching. You can't get results if your mindset is crappy. If you live by your excuses, Amy talked about this on the Team Fight to Finish call on Monday too, excuses and reasons and things like that, or results. What are you going to get? I talked about how I was able to look at my last month and go, okay, I know I was super consistent in the vital behaviors, because they always say what happens in that month is reflective of what you were doing the last 3 to 6 months, right? Sometimes even longer. I could firmly tell myself like, okay, I was doing this. I was showing up. I just wasn't showing up with intention, but I was showing up. 9 times out of 10, y'all, that's not the case. Most of the time, your non-negotiables, you're falling short on them, or you're just letting them slip out of your reach because you're not doing the vital behaviors. And I'm not talking about doing them on Monday, Wednesday, and when the sun's shining. Like, you have to do them consistently. I'm not telling you to go work 50 to 60 hours a week on your business. There are times and there are seasons for that. I'm going to talk a little bit about hustle seasons, but you also need to realize that someone else's numbers don't determine your success. So many times when I talk about the vital behaviors, or I hear other coaches talk about the vital behaviors, it's, well, how many reach outs do you do a day? How much time do you spend on your business? How many times are you posting a day? How many times are you in your stories? Guys, I don't even answer those questions because they don't matter. I do whatever I need to do to get to where I want to be. And you have to take a look at what you're doing and if it's getting you to where you want to be, and be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. If you're telling yourself that you want to be a diamond coach, but you're barely hitting Success Club 6 every single month, I will be honest with you, it ain't happening. And if it is, it's going to be really, really tough, and it's not going to be fun because you're going to feel like you're consistently chasing coach cancellations, or you're chasing coach inactivity, or you're chasing that emerald that you're relying on, or things like that. If you're someone who, say, wants to get maybe income is something that you're working towards, and you want to get your shakes paid for, and maybe you're helping 1 to 2 people every single month, but your boot camps are super inactive and people aren't getting results, then you're probably not going to reach that income goal of getting your shakes paid for every single month. You have to be realistic with yourself. And then you have to tell yourself, okay, so what am I doing right now that's making it feel impossible to get to my non-negotiable, and how can I adjust it? And don't just adjust it for a day or a week or a month. You have to adjust it for a longer amount of time. Trust in the process. Steve Innes told me when I first started, give it 2 years. Guys, I gave it 2 years. It's still feeling like an uphill climb some days. And that's okay, because guess what? It's only been 2 years. It's literally only been 2 years. And the fact that in 2 years, I have been able to reach some of my goals, fall short on a heck of a lot of goals, but reach some of them is insane. I'm 27 years old. And I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in that like instant gratification. And that's, another thing that can get in the way of us hitting our non-negotiables is we're like, well, I did it for like 2 weeks. Why am I not at Success Club 10 yet? I can tell you guys that because of the way that I hustled in October, and you can, like, numbers don't lie. So I'm not just blowing smoke up your butt when I'm saying that. Like, I was really doing the vitals. I really was, because I hit Success Club 10 by the first 5 days in November. So that would have never happened if I wasn't actually doing the work in October, when I felt like I was freaking running up against a brick wall with every single no, with every single next month, with every single in January, and things like that. And so it is one of those things where you have to consistently do it over time. And I feel like that's, another thing that holds us back. And you just, at the end of the day, have to ask yourself, is your mindset holding you back, or are you not doing the work? And then decide, I'm going to draw that line in the sand, and decide what you need to do, whether it's the work of the vital behaviors and whatever is in the tracker, showing up in your team pages, showing up on your team calls, or maybe putting in that mindset work too. Mindset work stuff, I would so rather go do like 100 reach outs a day than have a look and be like, wow, Meagan, your attitude kind of stinks. And, it wasn't something that it was like outward. It was just those little things every single day, like sending out an invite and thinking in my head, she's probably not going to respond. Well, yeah, she's probably not going to respond if that's the way I'm going into it. Posting, oh, I don't really know if anyone's going to like relate to this post. Well, yeah, no one's going to relate to it if that's what I'm putting out there. And just, so on and so forth. But now I kind of want to give you guys some like action steps. So you've kind of decided what you've been doing, whether it's letting your excuses or your season of life, bring you down, or maybe it's letting your lack of work bring you down, because this business requires work, whether you want to be a part-time coach, a hobby coach, maybe you're a discount coach on here, and you need to realize that putting in the work means getting the results that you want, that you signed up for. Whatever it may be, you have to take aligned action. And like I said, what works and what doesn't. Nobody else needs to tell you what's not working for you. And you probably know, and it's already popping in your head right now. You're already like, oh, I know what I'm doing, or I know what I'm not doing, and I need to know how to fix it. So let's go. Let's take a step forward instead of taking 5 steps back. So go into your vitals with that alignment and with those positive vibes. When you are going to do those invites, have that feeling of joy and purpose and why you are coaching. You're not inviting to cross it off a tracker. Nobody cares. I mean, yeah, you can post your trackers places and things like that, but like nobody's coming down on you saying like, oh, did you check that box today? No, think about why you were doing this. Why did you sign up in the first place? That's why you're reaching out. That's why you're following up. That's why you're posting with a purpose. When you are posting on social media, or you are posting in your stories, or maybe you're going live in your team page, or, anything along the lines of that, think about who exactly you're trying to reach. think about the person that you are going to get to talk to because of what you've posted, because of what you've shared. And guys, people can feel it. I guarantee you every single one of those messages that I sent out when I was just trying to check off a box, people can feel that vibe. Also, you don't need to bring that kind of negativity into your team and your challenge groups. So if you're putting out those kind of vibes, you're probably going to attract those people. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about because you probably had those conversations where you're like, I don't really know, like, if I really want to sign up this person because we're not really vibing that well. Like, it's probably because at one point you put that vibe out there. So just making sure that you're going into your vital behaviors with those positive vibes, you know, whether it's your workouts or your reach outs, popping up in your team pages, popping up on team calls, those kinds of things, whatever it may be. And just know that the second you feel those excuses start to creep in again, that means that your actions aren't aligned with your why. Because if, you know, I didn't have a strong why when I was pushing to be full-time, I really wanted to be full-time for a variety of reasons, but the biggest reason for me is because I wanted a better quality of life. And that was enough for me to get up at 4:30 in the morning. Guys, I didn't have to leave for my job until 8:30. Like I, you know, was one of those teachers rolling in at like 8:45 with the kids. And that was okay. It wasn't like a bad thing. Nobody like, that's what we all did in kindergarten. But I was waking up at 4:30, not because I had to leave at 6 for work. I was waking up at 4:30 so I could pour into my cup and get my workout done so that when I came home from school, I could get my coaching work done. And I knew that was a hustle season. I wasn't going to be waking up at 4:30, you know, every single morning for the rest of my life. I do not wake up at 4:30 right now. But guys, I was so aligned with my why that, yeah, that 4:30 alarm came and it wasn't like I was like, yay, it's time to wake up. The sun's not even coming up for 2 hours. It was just like me thinking of what it was going to be like when I was able to have a better quality of life for myself. That's what got me up. When I came home from school, literally in tears, and all I wanted to do was go crawl in my bed and hide under my covers, which is what I did my first year of teaching. The reason that I was able to take action, aka do my coaching work after school, was because I was so aligned with my why. And I know sometimes we can get out of touch with it. It happens, but then it's time to, you know, revisit it. What is going to drive you in those seasons of life that are difficult to, you know, help you hit your non-negotiables no matter what? And the coolest thing is when you get out of that tougher season, or maybe you haven't hit your tough season yet and you're like, I don't really know what you're talking about, Megan. When it happens, you're going to be able to come out of it and you're going to be able to share about it. And that right there holds so much power because it's something where I actually shared with my team a post from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had been a coach for like 4 months. I was an Emerald coach. I was like a baby coach. And I was already talking about being full-time and how I had a day off from work and how like this is what my future was going to look like because I was so freaking aligned with my why that I shouted it out to the world. So yeah, people who've been following me for 2 years are probably going to sign up for my boot camps now because they trust me. Or maybe they want to join our team because they trust me because I was talking about it. And so just make sure that your actions are aligned with your why. And like I said, there's going to be seasons of hustle. They're not going to last for forever. So no, this was said in our group today, but that season of hustle and that sacrifice is not for nothing, guys. It's a down payment on that blessing that's about to come. Whether that blessing comes in 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years, just know that that is something that is going to happen as long as you stay aligned in that season of hustle and you know that the ups and the downs of life don't determine your non-negotiables. We are in complete control of the things that we can control. I can't control how many people say no to me on a daily basis. I can't control my team losing rank. I can't control the amount of people that show up on a team call. I can't control the amount of people that show up in my boot camp to check in, you know, for a workout that day. What I can control is my invites, my reach outs. I can control my mindset. as much as we can. I can control my personal development and implementing my personal development and working on that. I can control getting bomb-ass results in the newest Beachbody program. I can control making sure I am prepped and ready for my meals for the week. Focus on the things that you can control and all of the things that are available to you rather than the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, because everybody's got ups and downs and life is going to go up and down all the time. And it's up to you whether you let that, roller coaster take you with it and go up and down, or you're just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And at the end of the day, like I said, guys, when it comes to time, when it comes to your schedule, when it comes to money, when it comes to fear, when it comes to failure, when it comes to all of those things that you feel like you're using as a crutch to hit or to not hit your non-negotiables, relate it back to your fitness and know that self-control and discipline will get you so far in this business. So far. Are you going to be perfect? No, not at all. But self-control and discipline, we tell it to our clients all the time. So start telling that to yourself too, because I will be honest with you guys, the last 7.5, 8 months of pregnancy have been really difficult. I was actually like on the couch all day today trying not to like puke. But did I message Leanna and say like, sorry, I'm just going to have to like not show up on your team call? Like, no, like I sucked it up. I feel great now. I knew like some energizing caffeine would help. I did my hair. I did my makeup. Like there's always going to be things in your life that are trying to knock you down. And it's literally up to you whether or not you let it knock you down. And just know that your non-negotiables should never go up and down, because it's totally and completely in your control. Totally. And guys, if you got to start today, and just say like, okay, I'm doing the dang thing. Like this is happening. Know that you have 10 days left of this month to hit your non-negotiable. It's so possible. So freaking possible. Like I said, it was the 30th of the month last month when I did it. There have been times when I have signed up 3 people in a 24-hour period. Maybe it wasn't the end of the month, but it was a 24-hour period. It's so doable. You just have to decide that it's doable. Take all of those things that are swarming around in your head right now, and you're just like, no, I just can't do it. I'm not full time, blah, 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 whatever's going on in your head, and put it in a little box and just shove it away, because it's not true. And you get to decide like what your truth is. And that's what I have for you guys.
Thank you so much. That was so good. I literally have like 2 pages of notes going on here. So many good quotes, and I just like love that your story is what it is, because like it just proves like all the success that you've had. Like there's no perfect person out there, and there's no like perfect success story. Like we've all gone through hard seasons. Like I know for myself too, like when I first started my business, I was in like the hardest season of my life, and it just goes to show you that literally if you stick to the vitals and like show up daily, no matter what, like you will see the results and like get to those goals. So if you guys have any questions, post them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. But I think the first one I saw was from Christina. So she said, does being a part-time coach equal to not hitting big goals because you're not putting in enough work? Part-time studies, part-time coach.
So I think that a lot of people, and like, I mean, I will even say that I definitely thought about this for a long time, thinking that you had to be a full-time coach to hit these big things in the business, or to hit high numbers on the Success Club board, or to, hit high ranks and stuff like that. And I will like 110% tell you that's like so not true. Part-time coach just honestly means that it's not your full-time job in my mind. I personally do not have any full-time coaches on my team, and I have part-time coaches who hit Success Club every month. I have part-time coaches who are diamond coaches. There are part-time coaches in Beachbody that are 6-figure earners and elite coaches. So I think that so many times we just think that like part-time means like we're just not good enough, or like we haven't made it or something like that, but it really doesn't. I think like I always think of Heather Shipley and the fact that like she's a freaking part-time coach. Like she's a professor at a university, and she's a 6-figure earner and an elite coach, and like I don't know, she's like 7, 8 star, like something crazy like that. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, like, okay, it just means that coaching isn't her full-time job, because not everyone's a teacher and is broke as a joke and gets to replace a $40,000 income, So yeah, I don't think that it should hold you back ever for hitting whatever goals you have. And don't ever also like be ashamed of your goals. Like if you are someone who is just starting out and you're like, I want to be a full-time coach, like go after that, girlfriend. That was me. I didn't know what I was doing, but I said it. If you have been in this business for a year and you're like, I'm so happy with being part-time, own it. Own it. It is your business. You get to do what you want to do with it. But I will say that our job is to help people. And I firmly believe that when we're doing our job, we're hitting Success Club. We're bringing in new people every single month because we're helping people. And that's just what we do.
Yeah, so true. I thought the same thing at Summit when I heard Heather Shipley, and I just met recently one of her coaches. Her husband plays drums for my husband's band now. But yeah, so such a small world. But she like does so much, you guys. I don't like not all of you were at Summit, but she's like a professor, and isn't she something else? Like I don't know. I
had no idea she was a part-time coach.
Yeah, me neither. And she was elite last year and is about to be elite this year too. So crazy. But yeah, I totally agree 100% with what Meagan was saying. When I first started out, I was a part-time coach. It's just, I feel like most people that you see who are full-time and successful as opposed to part-time, it's just because they fell in love with it and they just didn't want to do what they were doing before.
Yeah.
Like, it's not because they had to go full-time or because that was the only way they could see success. Like I went full-time because I hated my other jobs and I was like sick of being burnt out all the time and working a job under fluorescent lighting. Like I love being able to go wherever I want with this job. So good.
Yeah. And when I first started coaching for the first 6 months of my business, I told you guys I was never in the negative, meaning like I never paid for any of my products that I was doing because I was helping at least 3 to 5 people every single month. I was working like 10 to 20 hours a week max on my coaching business, like max. And I was doing that. It's just all about being intentional with time. One of my coaches is on here right now, Meagan too. She works in like 10 minutes at a time throughout the day. Like she doesn't have an hour to do a power hour. I always use you because she's like the power pocket queen. But you know, it's all about just finding it where you can and making the time, just like we tell our clients. You got time for a 30-minute workout. You got time for some 10-minute social reach outs. So
yeah, even like standing in line or like when I was part-time, I would literally send messages or responses on the toilet, like on my break, literally in the bathroom. But if just gotta find the ways to make it work. Like if you have a will, you will find the way. And I think it's so funny too, because as coaches, like the way our business is, like we are entrepreneurs. There's always something more that we can do. I could sit here for like another 5 hours tonight and do so much more work, but I know that I need to like take a break and breathe and go to sleep and so I'm not going to do that. But that's the reality. Like the more time that you have, like the more time you will want to spend on it. Cause you're like, oh, well, I could do this and I could do that and I can do this. But honestly, a lot of the coaches who have less time, I feel like are often way more successful because they have to be so intentional with their time. I
cannot agree with that statement anymore.
When I first went full time, I was like, what am I supposed to do all day? Like I have all the time in the world. And it was horrible for the first like few months. Yes. So, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, if anybody has any more questions, please post them in the chat.
Thank you guys for hopping on.
I guess my question was, do you know it? Wait, did you say you're having a baby girl? Or do you know?
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Oh my God.
In like 9 weeks, 9.5, 10 weeks, hopefully.
And you guys are like all moved in, like fully moved into your house?
So this is like, I can show you guys. It looks like I'm literally have my computer on a nightstand. And like my office is like guys, you don't have to have it together. I ordered a desk and then they told me it was not going to come until January. And I was like, well, I'm having a baby in January and I need a desk before then. So like everywhere else in my house is put together. It looks great. Just not my office, but it's fine because I built my business at a coffee table. Like it doesn't have to be fancy. It just is a great white ball and a chair and a ring light. So.
Okay. I have a question. What is your favorite PD book?
Oh, well, I now have a new favorite PD book, and it's called Super Attractor. I think we talked about this. Guys, it
Yeah.
changed my life. It is the best thing in the entire world. And, you know, whether you are like a Christian or you're just spiritual or just maybe like a little bit dabbling in that kind of thing, like I think that book can speak to everyone. And my other favorite book before that one too, The 5-Second Rule, that Mel Robbins really changed a lot for me when I was a part-time coach, because she's just a badass. And like a lot of people really like the Miracle Morning, but the 5-Second Rule really did it for me, like hands down. Podcasts, the MF CEO Project. So what I did when I was teaching, every single morning I would say 50-50. I would listen to worship music on the way to school because it was really tough. Or I would be listening to the MFCEO Project. And then every afternoon, and guys, I only had like a 20-minute commute. It wasn't a lot. So Andy Fries, I love that. Every afternoon, I would be listening to some sort of like coach training. So whether it was like catching up from a push group or the National Wake Up Call, or maybe my coach went live in her team page or like something like that. Yeah, the MFCO Project is where it's at. He's the best. I'm like sad that he doesn't make them every day.
Bernstein have a podcast or no?
So she like guest speaks on podcasts sometimes. So like if you type her name into like the Apple podcast thing, ones will come up that like she's on. So yeah. I like podcasts, but I also feel like there's a lot that comes from reading or listening to an audiobook, those kind of things.
Yeah, definitely like having the start to finish, like it's all one topic. Yeah. And I don't know, you can just go so deep with one topic.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Christina just asked, out of curiosity, what about retirement in terms of being a full-time coach?
Like retirement plans, like that kind of thing?
I think so.
Because I'm probably going to give you a really terrible answer for that. So that's something that I did put like on pause just for a little bit. I mean, I've only been a full-time coach for a year, but I needed to get things under just like control when it came to being a full-time coach before I opened up my own retirement plans. I still have my retirement plans from teaching, which were incredible. But it's the same as any other job. I feel like teaching makes it really easy because they literally do it for you. And you don't have to worry about it, but it's the same as any other job. You can get a financial advisor. I have people who do my taxes now, those kind of things. So it's the same as any other job where you can just open up a retirement plan, and go that route.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get so confused by coaching just because it's like basically your own business, right? Like you're your own CEO. And I heard Chelsea Pearson talk about that once, and she talks about it like, honestly, guys, like we get the better choice or the better option because you're your own CEO. You get to decide like what that retirement plan looks like. Decide what your savings look like. You get to decide how much money you put away for the future instead of like filling out a form and having the government like choose all those things for you.
And then decide like where exactly your retirement plans are coming from as far as percentages and ups and downs with the market and depending on matching and just like it's crazy. So yes, I completely agree.
Yes, so good. Hi, Ryder. I can just make him smile.
I'm just going to mute myself so you can hear him. Say it. Hi,
Hannah. Hi, Ryder.
Oh, my gosh.
He's got to make an appearance on our calls.
Every time, every call.
So cute. Okay,
guys, if there are no other questions, take a selfie if you haven't already. I already got one.
Yay.
But thank you guys so much for being present, and thank you, Meagan, for sharing with us. It was amazing. I have so many notes. Have a good rest of your night. Bye, guys.